So first things first, Jack, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to be busy again.
Well, you say again, and there have been some years where you have taken some time to get closer to yourself, get closer to your roots and everything. Um, that contrast between delving into yourself and then kind of giving yourself to the audience and giving yourself to the world. What is that like for you?
I mean, I've always said, when you're writing a record, it's like digging for treasure, and then you
Mm,
go and show the world everything that you found. You know what I mean? You're like, look at what we found here. So this is definitely, I feel like now I'm showing everybody what we've found in the last couple of years. Um, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's strange. I think it's so interesting for me now because the last record I made was Italian.
sure.
That it And then the record before that was kind of during lockdown. Um,
Right.
so it's actually been a while that I've sort of done a full, talked about an album after doing it in a normal environment, in what I would call like an environment that I'm used to, but like back in the day. So
Mm.
it's been exciting.
That's very good to hear. And you mentioned Miss Italia. And before we jump on to the new album, I'd like to ask one question about that album. Because
Yeah,
obviously it was in the wake of your father's passing, and it
yeah.
brought you to Italy, brought you to discover more of your roots and more of your kind of connection that you had to Italy. Once that process was over, you kind of found yourself in that way. What did you take away from that process into the new album?
I mean, I think I grew up a lot making that record. I think I surprised myself with the fact that I even did it
Mm,
because it wasn't really a choice. It was something I just had to do.
sure.
and and I think that was a big education for me. I learned to relinquish control, which was because I went to Italy to learn how to write in Italian,
Mm.
and I was the dumbest guy in the room most of the time. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was learning, and I became a student again, and I really liked that feeling. And I remember kind of consciously thinking, okay, when I go back to making the next English record, I want to take this same attitude, like let people that are better than me be better than me. Like, don't get in the way. Don't tell them what to do. And it was like that when I wrote these new songs for this record and I played them to my band for the first time. I remember I got them all to my house and they were like, "So what do you want us to do?" And I was like, "You tell me. Like, I want you do you. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to play. Play whatever you feel like playing in this moment." And I learned how to do that with the Italian album because before I was quite controlling. I'd
Okay.
always ask for a certain thing. I wanted it to be a certain style, a certain vibe. With this one, I was like, just play whatever it is you're feeling. And so that's what I really learned from that record. And I brought that into this new album.
How do you let that control go when when it's such a treasure for you, these songs, and to that I'm sure they're so close to you. How do you kind of give it away,
Let it go.
let's say?
Well, I didn't feel like I was giving away. I actually felt like I was enjoying it more.
Okay,
I got to enjoy it more. It's a bit like if you're always driving, all you see is the road.
sure.
You don't look out the window and go, "Ah, look at the sea." You know what I mean? So I actually got to enjoy my songs more. I got to enjoy the process more because I got to sort of take my eyes off the road and really see what was going on. And that was really nice. And that's what I learned with the Italian record was how to
Okay.
take my eyes off the road and enjoy the scenery.
But no better place to do that than Italy, I suppose. Um,
Exactly.
So, what was the catalyst then for starting this new album process up? Because, like you said, the Europeana was more of a lockdown album. Then you had Miss Italia. What was the catalyst to get back to your style of songwriting, to get back to your what you wanted to get
Roots.
across?
I think that's a great question because after having such strong concepts like Europeana and then
Mm,
Miss Italia, which like you said, one was a lockdown and one was to grieve the passing of my father. I remember thinking like now what? When I'm like those like I'm never probably not gonna need to write again. Like that was it's not gonna get bigger than that. A world pandemic and my
sure.
father dying. I was like, what could possibly happen that's going to make me want to write again? And then I had my 40th birthday, and I had a. I remember looking at a midlife crisis right in the eye, and thinking, oh shit, I could really, I just had this feeling like I could throw a grenade into my whole life and just blow it all up. And I almost did, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that. And I remember when that happened, I was like, well, here we go. This is something worth writing about. What it is to be, 42 years old, a father of three kids, married for, 15 years, together for 20. These are things that like I don't really hear about. Like if I when I went through that sort of shock and that midlife crisis, there wasn't really any music I could listen to,
Mm.
like except for like old stuff, the Springsteens, the Tom Waits.
Sure.
But like nowadays, there was no album for grown-ups. There was no music for grown-ups. And I was like, fuck, I could really do with a fucking great album right now. There was a band, I have to say, the one band that kind of got me through that was Half Moon Run. I
Okay.
think they're in a similar phase of life, and their songs really, the topics of their songs, it always felt like that's really good. Um, but yeah, I just felt like making a record for grown-ups, and that talks about, this the afternoon of life, and yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for the whole thing. I mean, I almost called the album Midlife Crisis.
Well,
There was
I'm
a point.
I was gonna say I'm turning 40 this year, so I kind of feel the same things, you know. I feel
Yeah,
that you're kind of looking around, taking stock of everything, and like, trying to figure things
exactly,
out. But
exactly.
what you mentioned, then, how do you distill that into music? How do you distill that? Do you start with words? Do you start with a certain
No,
sound?
so I went back to how I used to write when I remember thinking, how did I write when I was like 16? Like, how did I used to write when I was a kid? And when I first started, and I remember like I would write without any plan. Like, I
Mm,
wouldn't wake up in the morning or go see a friend and be like, today I want to write a love song or a song of this genre. There was no plan. I would just pick up a guitar, and what came out. And that's why I fell in love with songwriting, because I would learn so much about myself through
sure.
songwriting, but rather than learning about it and then writing about it. Like, the process of writing is where the education happened. And so I wanted to go back to that. So I would just try to sort of go really cold to the piano or to the guitar and just see what happened. And that was the only rule of this record, was like, no plan, no concept. This is jeans and t-shirt. Don't go in there with it. Don't try to make it this kind of album or that kind of album. Let's just go write and go learn about yourself and the world around you through the process of like observing and just songwriting. And it was a really amazing. Look, I'm addicted to the experience, not the result. I love the process of making records, of writing, of recording. I don't really, it's not that I don't care about the result, but I find it quite distracting actually. Like,
Okay.
even the last week when we suddenly got into a race for number one, it's fun, but it's a bit like, that's not the point. That's not the like that's not the shit that keeps me coming back for more. Actually, it's really distracting. Um, so I just really wanted to indulge in the pleasure of the process.
Well, I find that very interesting because you also mentioned your early days in West London. So when you were 16, what was the dream then? Because I would imagine that having a couple of number one albums is part of that. So when does it match up to what you envisioned a career in music would be?
Not the number ones. Like, I genuinely had no interest, or I still don't really. I mean, it's cool. It's nice to be able to tell your team we got number
Sure.
one and all that. It's amazing to let everyone know that they're not crazy for believing in you. But but other than that, like, no, I tell you, where my dreams have come true is being in a studio with a fucking great producer like Tommaso Coliva, my dream band, and playing and like recording songs that I want, that nobody's telling me to do. That these are the songs that I really love and care about, and this is the sound I love, and like with the guys, that's the fucking dream.
Mm.
That's met my expectations. That feels as good as I hoped it would feel when I was 16.
Sure. And then kind of that's also the overall message of the album. You do it for love. You do this thing for
Exactly.
just the
Yeah.
passion of doing it. For somebody who's
Exactly.
personally my passion for things kind of goes up and down throughout the course of the
Me
year or
too.
what, how do you keep that fresh? Is it just doing different projects, working with different people?
Yeah, it 100%. And that's like again going to do Miss Italia, my previous album. That was very something I never thought I would do. I basically went to Italy for 2 years. I was going back and forth a lot and just learned to write in a different language, working with people I'd never worked with before. Keep moving, like if it sometimes takes just as little as changing your perspective by, like, 90 degrees or even
Mhm.
less, where suddenly everything of where you live just looks a bit different. And so that's kind of how it is. Like whenever I'm like you, like it's not always passion, passion, passion,
Sure.
passion. Sometimes it's like, ah, fuck, forget this. I'm done with this. I'm over it. But then I don't know. I think as long as you keep the engines on, when something does come, you're like, oh, you're ready to go. You're ready to go for it. So as much as I don't always have the passion, I do try to keep the engines going all the time. And I mean, my passion isn't just songwriting and making music. I love kind of convincing people around me to help me do it. Like I like
Okay.
that. That process is also really exciting. It's like, guys, I've got an idea. Let's go fucking do this. Like that's also the passion. I like that.
But you have to be, if to do that, you have to be confident in what you do, right?
Yeah, or you have to pretend to be confident. You have to be good at pretending to be confident, which I'm very good at faking it. That's for sure.
Well, there's one last question I want to ask about kind of your earlier career and then delve into the album a little bit deeper. But you've openly talked about your struggles in music early on in your career and kind of it being touch and go whether you wanted to continue with it. If you look
Mhm.
back at that period now, do you still have those kind of moments where doubt creeps in, or is it now?
Oh yeah.
Because I do
Yeah.
feel a lot of calmness on this new album.
Calm, yeah. The 100%. There is, but that comes and goes in waves.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah, definitely this album was made with calm, with like acceptance more than anything.
Right.
Like I am what I am. This album will be what it'll be. Let's just do it how we want to do. If not now, then when? I've been doing this for 20 years. It's my ninth album. I was like, come on, man, just make the album exactly you want to make. Like don't no compromises. And it is. I love this record. Like this record will is a big one for me because it's exactly what I wanted. Everything, like from the artwork to the songs to the arrangement of the songs to where the songs are in the album.
Okay.
Everything about it was like I feel really like it's exactly where I want it to be and what I wanted to do. Um, but that doesn't mean that this morning I don't find myself looking out the window thinking, what next?
Mm.
you know, the panic does kick in. It still does sometimes. It still can kick in.
I can imagine that because for you this process has been done for a little bit, so now it's on to the next already, right?
On to the next one. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
Well, let's jump into the album a little bit then. Was there one song that kind of I asked you about the catalyst for the album? Was there one song that early on started to kind of take shape that was somewhat of a key song to you that kind of set the whole thing in motion?
Yeah, The Making of You, which is why I
Okay.
wanted to start the album with that song, because that was the like, here we go moment. Like, there it is. This is like, I can just be me on this one. Like,
Mm.
I'm gonna not try and I had played a few songs to one of the guys in my band, and he was like, "Yeah, these are great, but like, where are you?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And he was like, "These are all good songs, but like, I'd love something a bit more truthful." And I remember being really pissed off, and I went back into my house and I grabbed the guitar and I wrote "The Making of You," and like, it just came out. And I was like, "Oh shit, he's right. I need to just do my songs and not try and do songs that are like this, or just go really to the bone, really authentic, try and get the substance rather than style." And yeah, that song, I played that then to the band and they all loved him, and I was like, okay, I just need to do me on this record.
As a songwriter, do you kind of know when you're faking it as you're writing it, or whether do you know when it's not truthful?
Yeah. Sometimes because it's really good and you're like, that's too good. That's too like that's not it's just too it just fits too perfectly.
Right.
And that's when I get a bit skeptical when that happens. But as Miles Davis says, you have to imitate before you innovate. And
Mm.
sometimes you are imitating, and then by imitating, you find kind of where you want to go, and then that gives you the courage to then put your own self in that place.
Getting into the making of you, what did you realize about yourself while writing? And you say it was quite a quick process. What did you realize when you were writing that song about yourself? What was the core of you?
I think it was that lyric. This is the making of you. It was very much directed as my wife at the time was really making herself like
Mm,
growing into this new woman, and she was really taking on a lot of stuff professionally, emotionally. She was going through a lot of changes, and I remember that line when I just sang it, this is the making of you, you can use me for parts.
mm.
I was like, oh shit, I wish I'd been like this. I've been trying to say this to her for like months, but I didn't know how, and then that one sentence says it all. And I remember thinking, that's the truth. Like that there's no bullshit on that one. There's no
Mm.
fat on that lyric. And yeah, I really it just made me smile. I remember I played it to her and she just like loved that line. Um, so yeah, that was just a nice. It felt like something that I'd been trying to get out, but I didn't know how to just boom came out, and it was a lovely feeling.
And can I imagine that after that song, the rest kind of, well, it's interesting. You mentioned earlier that you had no plans with writing, that it was pretty much open as much as you could be. But then when you listen to the album, it's quite coherent. So was that all
Yeah.
afterwards?
No, I think that's what happens when you do actually relinquish control. Like
Ah.
if you sing from because it was all written in a sort of period of time. And I mean that's proof that it is genuine in a weird way. Like that was the proof I needed. Like even the chord progressions, they're all very similar. Like they're just kind of like, maybe the same song but backwards.
Mm,
And I was definitely in a certain headspace. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like you can really I wasn't trying, oh, okay, I've done that song. Now let's do something else. No, no. It was like that's what keeps coming. So let's keep putting that down. But I really like that it's cohesive because that doesn't always happen with me on records. Sometimes my albums are a bit schizophrenic. You'll get like a guitar song, then a dance song, then like a I don't know, they get a bit varied. Whereas this one, you can definitely see it was written over a certain period of time.
Sure. And even with the collaborations that you do, it all seems to fit well within the songs, but also within the larger,
Style.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was really it's funny because I really didn't want to work with any established artists on this
Mm,
one. So the first duet I did was with Steph Frazier, and she's a sort of she's been around, but she's not super established. And I really wanted to like introduce her to our fans and be like, you got to see this talent. This woman is amazing. But then I had this song, Tempting Fate, that I
mm.
really wanted a strong but also really vulnerable voice. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody about this whole album and how it's back to our roots. And the first person I thought of was Katie Tunstall because we came up together. Like she
Okay.
started at the same kind of the same year as me. My guitarist used to be in her band. We used to hang out a bit in West London. Our paths used to cross. So like we've kind of come up together. I mean, she went stratospheric and all that, but it was like kind of the perfect fit. I was like, fuck, I should ask Katie if she's up for this because she so represents that time that I'm sort of reflecting on a lot in this album. Um, and luckily she said yes, and she smashed it out the park. Yeah.
Did she have similar feelings to you? Because she must be the same age then, and kind of having gone through similar things. Is she thematically in the same place as this
Well,
album?
I think so. I think so because when I sent her the song, she just wrote back, I fucking like she loved the song, which
Mm,
was important. It was I was like, listen, you don't have to do anything. Like this is the song, let me know. And she was just like, I fucking love this song. Um she said, I think she said, I feel like I've heard it before. Like it feels like an old classic. So I'd love to. So she sang it. I think there was a part of her that related to it, and you can hear it when she sings it. Like
Right.
she means it.
Because yeah, again, I'm of a similar age, and there's a lot of things that I can connect to. One of my favorite ones is Anything But a Fool. So is
Yeah, I love
there
that one.
what was the spark for that one?
Um, I think I think just admiration for the person that you love and being
Mm.
like, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to do good to not lose you, to keep, I'm gonna have to really value. You're not a fool. You know what I mean? I can't trick you any longer. I've got to really bring the full package here. You know what I mean? I can't get away with half doing my job. Like I've got to show up here if I'm gonna keep you and value you the way I should.
Yeah, I love that line. When I promised you forever, it wasn't mine to give away. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That was the thing. I mean, when you've been married for a long time, you're like, who am I to think, promise you forever? That doesn't belong to me. Um, and yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just speaking to you now, I can feel that your wife is still a huge inspiration to you, and obviously, and then again, doing it for love, love in many contexts. I'm not going to ask you what she means to you, but how does that kind of muse type thing work in essence for you? How does she, is she just at the forefront of your mind a lot?
I mean, it's great for me. I don't know how great it is for her. That's why doesn't really listen to the music much. She's like, I
Okay.
can't. It's too. But it is. Yeah, it's not a decision. It's funny because I worked with somebody, a producer, a couple years ago, and he was like, "Try, can we try not writing songs just about your wife?" And so I did, and that's when I made Europeana and things like that.
Okay.
I ventured out a bit. And then this time I was like, fuck that. I'm not choosing to write about my wife, but when I write, this is what comes out. And they're not really about my wife. They're
Sure.
just, on my personal experience, it happens to be that. But I think they're pretty universal feeling. You know what I mean? I think, and I actually think if you write really personal, that's when they become more universal in a
Right.
weird way. Whereas if you try to write universally, sometimes they can just feel a bit empty.
Right. And as you mentioned, I mean, these are concepts that a lot of people are dealing with. They're universal themes of change, of dealing with time and getting older and all that stuff. So it's very relatable. You said you wanted to make
Yeah.
an album for adults, and because that's not something that was around too much. Do you think you succeeded? This is
Think so. I hope so. I hope it's useful. That's kind of all I really wanted from this record is that people can use it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I wanted to make something that was useful, not just entertaining. I really wanted it to be useful.
In what sense useful? Just for someone like me, you can relate to the lyrics and
Exactly. Exactly. Like a tool that's like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not going through this on my own. This is obviously something that we go through at this time in life. And also useful because I hope it's positive, it's uplifting. It's not like, oh shit, this is a horrible time in life. It's very much like we will always be the way we were. Like embrace it, man. Like go with it. It's kind of like don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the midlife crisis. Like lean into it. Get to know yourself. Like don't ignore it. If you ignore it, you end up buying a fucking motorbike and a fast car and watches and all that. Like that's all distractions. Like lean into it more internally. You know what I mean?
and again that word that you used earlier, acceptance, just who you are.
Acceptance. Exactly. This album for me was a huge declaration of I am what I am. Acceptance. Yeah.
Better or worse, just take me as I am.
Exactly. Exactly. For better or for worse. Exactly.
All right. One last question then, because you will play the Netherlands in October, which we
I
are very
know.
much looking forward to. But you also, I suppose, kind of had a magical moment. You played Royal Albert Hall, which for somebody who is from London must be quite special.
I mean, unbelievable. We're doing it again in like a few days, which
Right.
is crazy, but it was amazing, man. Like I'm actually really excited I get to do it again because I it was like a bit of a blur.
Sure.
It was so emotional. I was pretty fucking tired by the time we got there, like burnt out because we've been doing like 4 weeks of promo. Um, and then the pressure of the show at the Royal Albert Hall. We played the whole new album and we still don't know that very well. So it was a lot of like information. And again, I think the thing that really threw me was my children. All three of my kids were
Mhm.
in the in the front row on the balconies on the top there. And I remember after the first song, the whole my whole game plan went out the window. I was like, I was so wanting it to be like the perfect show and da, da, da. And then I sang the first song and I looked up and I saw my kids and I was like, oh fuck this, man. I'm just gonna like this is I'm gonna really relax this. Like this isn't a show. This is a real moment. It's an occasion. And I made it I really wanted it to be a special occasion rather than a show. And it was that. But I look forward to doing it again. Because yeah, it was just an amazing, incredible, very, very emotional night. Possibly the most emotional night I've had in that
Okay.
capacity, like of performing live. Yeah.
Last question. What did you notice about playing those new songs live? Was there anything that stood out to you that whether something worked or didn't work?
They were fucking great. If I'm like they were written to be played like that.
Sure.
They're just so they are what they are.
Mm,
So they weren't written in a studio like over a loop or stuff like that. So they were they were written voice and guitar or voice and piano, and then the band playing on the record is the band on stage. So everyone's doing what they do best. So it just they feel really great to play live.
that's
It was
awesome
my
to
favorite
hear.
part of it. Yeah, it was really cool. They work. I can say it really worked. It
That's
really
great to
worked.
hear. Jack, may I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank
I
you,
know
buddy.
you've been
Thank you,
busy
bro.
for weeks, so thank you very much for just taking the time.
Thank you, man. And I look forward to seeing you when we come to the Netherlands, hopefully, the
Oh, yeah,
Paradiso.
definitely in October 10 and 11, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah, it's my birthday.
oh, is it?
We're playing the Paradiso on my birthday, yeah, which would
Oh,
be
that's
great.
awesome. All right, man. Well, I hope you have a
Grande,
great
buddy.
day. Enjoy the sun.
Thank you. You too.